Welcome back to Inspired Siren, and we are in the trees today. We are continuing our little exploration of the Sims 4 Enchanted by Nature pack. Now, I did originally record this with lots of fun commentary, and then I realized that I must have been like, I don't know, maybe tired when I was recording it or something, but I don't know if I was just like sitting way too close to the microphone, but I sounded it sounded really bad. So I have turned this into a speed build, and you will get a lovely voiceover of what I'm doing today because I can't, in good conscience, make you listen to my weirdness. Anyway, so kind of continuing in a little like loosely based on the maid and the crocodile. I love this lot that's up in the trees because in the book, getting in and out of the kind of house is like you have to go through like magical portals, and I feel like this just gives that such like cool magic vibe. And like maybe I'm not always going to be playing with that, but excuse me, but today I felt like okay, like I'm going to lean into the fairiness of the fairy pack and actually try and explore. And I really wanted there to be a courtyard in the house, but I felt like the lot was a little too small for like a full square courtyard, so I kind of went with this U shape. Anyway, so I went with the courtyard kind of look, and here I am messing with all the roofs. Now, I really wanted there to be a rounded roof at the front. I don't know if I am just incapable of creating roofs this way. I did eventually get it, but it feels like there's a better way that I just don't fully understand roofing. I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to like practice building. It's kind of a newer thing for me. I mean, I've been playing The Sims forever, and I like have like decorated and redecorated houses, but building is a whole new thing. So I do really like the roof textures, and when I found out that you could put plants on the roofs now, I was like, well, this is going to be my whole personality. So I knew that I wanted to have kind of like one roof at least that was kind of maybe like a green roof almost. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen those moss roofs in real life, and like flowers and like kind of natural. But then I also wanted to kind of stick with like in my head around the book of this like reddish stone and kind of a courtyard, and like there's, a little bit of a dusty vibe. And I feel like I found kind of things that met both kind of like ideas in my head, and I tried to marry them together. And so like here's me putting a million plants on the roof because I just like that's such a cool thing introduction. I don't think it works like super well. Like you can't put every single plant on the roof, and like you can't put them like all the way to the edges as much. So I think it's like a little bit of like kind of finicky. But I am still really glad that that is now a thing, because I'm for sure going to be doing that in builds because it's like so cool. And so yeah, here's me just kind of trying to work on getting those little front roofy pieces kind of to lay right. And fun fact, if you probably know this if you're watching this video, but using a 9 key, you can like raise and lower things. And so even if they technically don't slot, wait, see like what I'm doing with these plants, they technically don't slot, but if I can kind of cover up that weird gap that I have no idea how to fix, it's kind of like this cool little trick. But I will say like general thoughts on the pack. It's definitely more broad than I anticipated. I think like some of like, I mean, even that green roof, kind of the more reddish, I don't know, tiley roof, I think you could pretty much always put something like that into a build, right? Like a cottage build or like a little European build, or I appreciated at least with like roofs, textures, and things. It didn't feel like so magic-y and so fairy-y, which wouldn't be bad because that was the pack, that was what the pack was for. But just be a little bit like more focused. And so I think, especially because these packs are all like pretty expensive, I think it's really important for the pack to broadly reach out to kind of having, you know, a few different purposes. But I mean, maybe that's just my thought. Maybe other people thought differently. But here I've got kind of like a million plants on the roof, and I've got this like U-shaped layout, you know, and at this point I started popping in the doors, and they did make all the doors technically short height, but then I was looking at them and it didn't feel like you could actually see the full scope of like the archway or like maybe the artistic part of the door. So I was like going back and forth of like, oh, do I make a like, do I make the walls medium height? Like that, is that going to be, is that going to be really annoying? Is that going to be like, okay? And I tried to avoid it, but then I just was looking at it and I was like, man, I have to do it. Like, I tried to take the trim away. I was like, okay, I gotta go medium height. And so I did end up moving to medium height. And then of course I had to like re-raise all those things I individually raised up with the 9 key. But I think the medium height really kind of ended up lending itself pretty well to the whole build, just how kind of I laid it out inside. One sec, I gotta get a drink. Anyway, so I am having throat problems today. So yeah, I've got kind of popped up to medium height. I think that was the right choice, but of course you've got to like finagle all the things again because, you know, what am I going to do? Fix the roofs? No. But I think that really lends itself a lot better to kind of the shapes of the windows, and you kind of get to have the full arch, and you get to, there's some of the windows are so cool. They're like covered in moss and things, and you get to kind of fully see that. I think the amount of windows and the overall, I guess, configurations you can make overall felt pretty good. I do feel like I wish that there had been like a 1 or 2, maybe more like medium size windows. I feel like a lot of the windows felt either like just too small or like just too big, and I still made it work. So like it still worked out really well, but the I guess full the full like window effect wasn't like exactly what I wanted. Kind of same thing with the pavers. Like, I think they made like a really cool paver shape and like a couple of cool, like here I'm using the grass and the stone ones, but I just wish there was just like a little bit more. Like, I just feel like expansion packs are so expensive that it makes it hard to not be judgmental about them. Like, then again, I don't know, like I'm not a digital creation artist, so like maybe all of this stuff is extremely hard and takes a really long time, and so maybe it's kind of like I'm saying like, oh, I wish they had like a couple more swatches or a couple different types of windows, but maybe that's like 3 or 4 months of work. I don't know. I did end up going with kind of the more textured courtyard look, and then doing a heck of a lot of planting, just to kind of make like this, like part of, you know, in the novel that I've kind of loosely based a little bit of this build on. It was such a magical place that like plants would just like sprout overnight. So like she at one point is like talking about having a farm stand and how you could grow vegetables and then just replace them every day because of how like fast and like bountiful the magic like kind of space is. And so I kind of wanted to channel that vibe in my own build, where also this freaking gate, we're like making a slight detour here, but the gate is so pretty. This is one of those things that I'm like, is this like a little too magical to look normal? Yeah, probably. But it's so beautiful and special, and I just thought it looked amazing. I tried to offset it a little bit because I didn't want it to like fully block the butterfly in the front door. And so, yeah, like this kind of, I wanted to channel this vibe of like a mystical place, but also like pretty grounded. And so kind of choosing the more like earthier tones. I guess I didn't fully explore all of the tones of the different windows and everything. So maybe there was some that weren't earthy colors, but it seemed like the ones I was looking at were like red or brown or green or kind of like peachy color. And so I don't know how like cool toned builds. Maybe I can do another one with like a little bit of a different build vibe. But at least for what I was kind of thinking and imagining, it felt like it was really easy to kind of get everything to kind of look good with some variation and have that magic, but still grounded enough that it could kind of be just a normal house vibe. I mean, other than the fact that it's like suspended hundreds of feet in the air in a tree, but other than that, totally normal. I'm sure that the rest of the house is pretty normal. So, yeah, I just cluttered up a bunch of plants. I really, really, really liked the way that I did kind of all of the planting on the roof and the outside. Like, it honestly just looks like exactly what I imagined in my mind this house in this book looked like, where it was so borderline fantastical, but still somehow like really rooted in earth and the ground. And yeah, so I kind of managed that pretty well. And then I did kind of leave the outside other than that kind of bare. And I know this house isn't huge, but I really just wanted to make kind of in my mind, like I wanted to explore the pack, but also pay homage to this like throughout the book, kind of she talks about being called small shade, and like in the end she's not that, but I don't know, like something about that, I wanted this house to feel safe and cozy, and so I kind of created little pockets in places, but like I did a step down, which was good for the medium height, and like a pocket kitchen and a little bit of a pocket living room and everything. And I love how the layout turned out. I really dislike multiple story houses in The Sims 100% because of gameplay. I don't know if this is just how my brain works or if everybody feels this way, but it feels hard to actually like flip upstairs, downstairs, upstairs, downstairs when you're playing. And so I really like making smaller, like one level houses. Speaking of cute, amazing, safe, beautiful things, the lighting in this pack, so good. I feel like you can see me here. I'm like doing some of the lighting, and the tree branch vibe is like kind of mystical, but you could still use it in a regular house. They kind of had these vines that would curve, like there was straight ones, there was two different corner ones where you could kind of almost like outline a window or outline a mirror. And then they had those like cute tiny little acorn light that I put outside. I really felt like the lighting was a hit in this pack. It was in my mind extremely fitting for the pack, and it really just made it feel like you were in a little cozy cottage. And I guess this is part of where the pack feels like it splits a little bit. Like the I felt like most of kind of the outside, the housing, the tiles and stuff, that could kind of translate, but some of the wallpapers are really specific. Like there's like that little pine cone wallpaper, and there's like a birch tree wallpaper, like you're living in a tree, and there's like mossy stone. And so I think when we're thinking on that level, like this is probably not stuff I'm going to use every day, but it's like for this occasion, it's perfect. And so I kind of went back and forth a little bit about kind of, oh, could I use this in this area? And like maybe part of why this house looks so cottagey and fairy and whimsy is like that was my goal. And maybe if you had like split up split it up a little bit more with the base game, or kind of, oh, say I found this bar back, which I decided to just make an art feature in the like hallway with this like wild tree crystal planty thing. And like, right, like, am I ever gonna use this in a non-fairy build? Like, probably not. But like, maybe I could do something else that would be slightly less witchy and like slightly less fantasy if I didn't use just this pack. But herein lies the problem, right? Is that I feel like it is important to have packs where it does kind of translate a little bit between the base game, because if you're gonna buy like an expansion pack, if the base game's free, like you'll have that expansion and the base game. And so this, oh, also it really bothered me that they didn't give a fridge or a stove. Unless I'm crazy and I didn't see them, but like they had everything so, like they have a sink, they've got like the cabinets, and I just think it would have, oh man, it would have been so cool to have some sort of like fridge stove vibe that really like slotted into the kitchen. It doesn't look bad with like, I think, I just had base game and this pack installed. It doesn't look bad with the base game ones. It does. I mean, it still looks kind of normal, but oh man, can you imagine if they had have been like kind of like that bar back, a fridge with like a crystal front, or like a tree, or maybe the stove somehow in a tree stump. Like, I think that piece would have been really cool. I was kind of sad about that. And so I think with the base game and this pack, you can have variety and you can make really great builds. But it's not going to give you as much variety as, say, like, I don't know, Growing Together, or, one of the other packs that doesn't have quite a niche brand. But this, oh my gosh, I was obsessed with this chair with the honeybee on it. Like, a lot of the furniture was so well done. Like, the pillows, the blankets, the kind of color variations. Like I said, I think a lot of the stuff was amazing. It's just not maybe transferable to, like, I guess multiple types of gameplay. But it is like, I would live in this house, so maybe that's enough. I guess. So yeah, I think like overall, I really, really liked a lot of this pack, but I don't know if I would recommend it if like you were only gonna get one pack. So I don't know this. And then, in this living room, I ended up kind of making a, now we've moved to the bathroom, but in the living room, I ended up making kind of a wall, which we'll see later, with like lots of little shelves. I did feel like they gave us a lot of different cool shelves. They gave us a freaking corner bathtub. It's like a rock. Like, it's like you're taking a bath in like a little pond or a little hot springs, and that kind of vibe is so cool. I feel like, I think a lot of people were asking for this type of pack, and so I do think they really nailed it with a lot of the stuff. I can't wait to play in this. This is like, sometimes I build and for these videos, and then I just lose interest in the gameplay and stuff. But I'm thinking I'm gonna probably do a little bit of a gameplay thing for this. It might take me a little bit, but I think a lot of the furniture feels inspiring, right? Which I guess is kind of maybe what makes this kind of redeems this pack for me, is that there's mushrooms on mirrors. There's like a beautiful canopy bed. There is this gate that has like an arching tree with vines hanging down. And I think if we're just basing like kind of things on having a pack that you can kind of escape every day, you can kind of go into a fantasy land, you can enjoy just like beautiful things. I don't think I don't think you can complain much about this pack. Also, something they put in this pack that blew my mind is they put like living houseplants. Now, houseplants in my house in real life die extremely quickly. And so this will be interesting to see how I handle it in The Sims. But I thought that was so cool that they gave like 4 or 5 little different types of pots, and then you have a living houseplant in them. And so I'm guessing like you have to maybe like water it, and if you overwater it or you don't water it, it dies or something. But I just thought that was like a cool little gameplay touch that hasn't happened in a while, and it seemed like there was enough options of like plants that were fake, quote unquote, and so you wouldn't have to worry about your with your gameplay, you wouldn't have to worry about watering them or anything. And then there was a mix of things that were living, and so I feel like they mixed that up really, really well. And kind of when I was putting the finishing touches on the house, I just felt like there was enough clutter. There was like enough cute shelves. There was the rugs in this pack, magical. There's a freaking unicorn on one. There's one that's like moss, like little clumps of moss. And man, and there was a leaf one. Yeah, here's the leaf one. And I think the rugs actually might be my favorite part. The chair with the honeybee pillow and the unicorn rug. There's like a unicorn, a dragon, a tree, a deer. I think that the rugs are so stunning, like to the point that I kind of wish that I could just have the rugs as art pieces. Just because of how like beautiful they were. And so then they do have like a curtain, like some other art pieces, like they had like a little gallery wall, which I thought was really cute, and a naturopath stand, which I'm really excited about that for gameplay. I might figure a way to try and like fit this into my Sims in Bloom legacy. But there was a backsplash that is like I think that it had multiple different insects, but there was one that was a bee, and I'm kind of obsessed with honeybees. And so like I really love that they created kind of a black backsplash that's like you could just put it on top of the walls, and so you could have like the top half of your walls be whatever you want, and you could still have a backsplash like in the kitchen. And they gave us a new mailbox, which I don't think I'd done for a while. They gave us a little fairy house, a clothing rack. I mean, this pack's it was pretty full. Like there were a couple pieces, like mostly just like the kitchen, like the fridge and the stove thing that I was kind of sad about. But for the most part, they gave us a lot of really cool stuff. And so I'm going to finish it up here, and I am going to pop in game and give you a little tour really quick of our beautiful little house. So, yeah, let's hop into game. Okay, we are back in game here to do a little tour. So, like I said, the outside kind of I created as magical as I could kind of come up with, like this beautiful gate. We've got a little courtyard here. There's some seating. There's a little table. And kind of when we go inside, you kind of walk into this masterful like dining area. We've got kind of plants scattered throughout, a little clothing rack. We've got our freaking unicorn rug, which I was not willing to cover up. Our backsplash, our kitchen area. Moving into the living room with yet another rug that I was unwilling to cover up. Kind of we've got our bookshelf, our little gallery wall with our cute little our paintings and our little pots. We've got some live plants scattered around. We'll see how long those last. Our little honeybee. And then kind of on the other side of the house, we've got our bath area with our toilet and our beautiful crystal like springs bathtub with a little shower in the back. And then our amazing canopy bed, kind of living in our little like plant infested house. I love the textures that they're doing these days. And our little dresser. So, yeah, and of course, we live on this beautiful lot in the middle of the trees. So, thanks for tuning in. I might do a little playthrough sometime soon. We'll see. But let me know what you think of this build. If you want to use it, you can go ahead and it is on the gallery. And thanks for tuning in to Inspired Siren. Hit that subscribe button. If you want to check this house out, you are welcome to check on my gallery. My gallery ID is Inspired Siren, and this is named Crocodile Magic. So give me a like, give me a comment, let me know what you think of this build, and if you'd like to see more of this pack, what you'd like to see exactly, and I'll catch you next Friday. Bye.